Hey guys, what's up? John Graham here. I'm still continuing my series tonight on daily devotions Monday through Friday every night. Sorry that I got a little sidetracked, setback. Last week was homecoming at my college, so as you can imagine, a lot of club meetings and things like that to take care of and whatnot. But I'm back on track. It's Monday night, and got another devotion for y'all. So I hope y'all are interested and get ready to listen. All right, so tonight, the devotion I'm going to share with y'all is called "Forging a New Path." That's going to be out of Judges 10:6-8. Before we begin diving into it, I'm going to go ahead and read the passages to you. So here we go. It's Judges 10:6-8. Here we go. It says, "Again, the Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight. They served the images of Baal and Ashtoreth," my best guess, "and the gods of Aram, Sidon, Moab, Ammon, and Philistia. They abandoned the Lord and no longer served him at all. So the Lord burned with anger against Israel, and he turned them over to the Philistines and the Ammonites, who began to oppress them that year. For 18 years they oppressed all the Israelites east of the Jordan River in the land of Amorites, that is, in Gilead." So tonight, what you really get from that after reading that thing is that obviously God was really angry with the Israelites who were worshiping other gods and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and read into the commentary a bit on this. So during the times of the judges, the people of Israel continue to worship false gods. Their selfish way of living causes God to become very angry, so he delivers them into the hands of their enemies. Instead of remembering their covenant with the one true God, the Israelites decide to go down their own path and lose their way. The ability to make decisions and choose our own fate is a gift from God, but along with those decisions comes the reality that, like the Israelites, we often ourselves will turn back on what we know to be true, sometimes even worshiping unworthy objects or following false gods, whether that be playing video games too much, and whether it be doing some sort of habit like drugs, tobacco, maybe drinking, but just pursuing those things of this world and not pursuing what God wants us to pursue, which is glory in his word and his strength that he gives us each day. These choices often affect our lives in profound ways, even define our future. Just to give you a hypothetical of a situation and kind of what that looks like, I'm going to use an example here. So I want you to meet Craig. So when Craig left the comforts of his close-knit Christian family from college at age 18, it was the first time in his life he was truly free to make his own decisions. But no one told him to make his bed. No one waited up for him at night once he got to college. No one told him when and where he could go or couldn't go. Finally, he had no one to answer to. At least that's what he thought. His desire to live for the moment and to do whatever he felt good to him caused him to end up like a much different person from the one he had set out to become. As Craig was growing up, God has been his life's main focus, but at school, he became obsessed with dangerous temptations. The world was offered drinking, money, and power, to name a few. So pretty soon, God was lost in the memories of the past of Craig. The fast life eventually came to a crashing halt on a night that began just like any other for Craig, but ended up ending in a hospital emergency room with a drunk driving charge, a revoked license, and hundreds of dollars in fines. Sure, Craig was now an adult. He felt like he could choose for himself the road he wanted to travel. He also got to find out the hard way what it was like to be on his own without the protection he had taken granted for his whole life. I can relate to Craig a lot in this situation, definitely, because I feel a lot of times it's really hard being a Christian to really enjoy life without, trying to go down a worldly path, For example, just to give personal testimony to make it more surreal, one thing that I really struggle with personally is nicotine addiction. It's kind of my fault, honestly, everything happens for a reason, but I got the addiction to nicotine, and to this day, every day, even though I'm on a dry campus here at college here at Southwestern, I to this day want to go outside and light a pack and just smoke it all, but I can't do that because I know it's not right, because it's killing me and it's harming me and it's bad for me. That's a given. That's like based off of science. It's a reality, and a lot of times I try to, cope with it and try to say, hey, I switched alternatives such as like vaping, but I know for a fact that nicotine is still harming me, and that's still not what God wants me to do. So that's just like an example of a constant, worldly desire that I still struggle with today, that I know for a fact is not good for me, but I still have to try to overcome something like that. Anyways, guys, not to rant, but I really just want to leave you with 2 points and 2 questions today. I'm going to leave them in the comments at the bottom so y'all can answer them on your own. But here's the first one. So, reading back from Judges 10:6-8, I just had this question: what was God's purpose in how he dealt with the Israelites? So, What do you think God was trying to convey to the Israelites by punishing them and letting the Amorites take over them? Me personally, I think God was trying to say, hey, you didn't worship me, you chose to go, worship false idols and everything, so I'll let your enemies have you because you weren't serving me. That's what I got from it. If you got something else, feel free to comment about it. I'd love to hear your response to this. And then the second question I have for y'all tonight is that, is it possible to live life in the real world without being overtaken by its temptations? What can we learn from these two stories about God's desires for us? So for me, is it possible to live in the real world? Oh yeah. We already live in the real world. Being overtaken by these temptations? Unfortunately not. God made us as to be Christians, to be set apart from the world, and if we are going to be the people in His church and be the, His lambs and He be the shepherd, we need to be able to stand up for what's right and not give forward to things that society thinks is okay, whether it be drinking, smoking, certain sexual lifestyles. There's numerous things, but you can't do that if you're a Christian. Also, what can we learn from these two stories about God's desires for us? For the Israelites, the Israelites made false gods, therefore God let the enemies of the Israelites take him. And then for Craig, it doesn't matter how Christian or how often you go to church, if you let one thing such as drugs and alcohol take over you, it can lead you in the deep end. Craig's lucky because he is able to go to the, hospital, even though he still has to pay fines. Thank God he's not dead or in jail or something like that, everything you do has a consequence, and you always need to make sure that every decision you make is not only to benefit you, but to benefit God, because that's the person you're serving. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to me tonight. Really appreciate it. I'll be doing these every night, hopefully around the same time, 5, 6 o'clock every day. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to hear more from me, or if you want to like my channel, please subscribe. I love it. I want to get this thing kind of rolling. And if you have any prayer requests or any kind of comments or anything, just leave below or message me directly and I'll answer it. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for listening to me, and hope you all have a great rest of the day and have a good night.